Hello everyone. In this video we will see if Nemona, your rival from the game, his team is any good. Without further ado, let's get into it. My opponent starts off with switching and I try to catch him with a taunt, expecting stealth rocks, but they switch into Roaring Moon using Earthquake and activating my Focus Sash. They then switch again to Great Tusk and I catch him with an Endeavor, dropping him down to 1 HP. I then try to capitalize with Accelerate Rock, but it's clearly not enough damage. They then KO me with Rapid Spin, getting a +1 speed. I then switch out to Quackwivel, hoping to get a quick revenge kill, but they return with Torkoal, setting up the Sun and ruining my plan. I then switch out to Goodra to try to stall out the Sun a little bit, and they set up their own Stealth Rocks. I then use Sludge Bomb, which does some okay damage, and they respond with a Body Press, which does a little bit of chunks. They then switch out to Garganicle in order to resist my Sludge Bomb. I then switch out to Earthworm in order to resist the incoming rock move, which I thankfully get right. I then make a risky play and set up the spikes, hoping he doesn't have a ground move, but thankfully he only goes for Curse, getting a little boost. Set up another layer of spikes, and he goes for the Body Press, which does a nice chunk, but Earthworm hangs on. But goes down to the Soul Cure, because it's a busted move. I then switch into my Pawmot, and drop a Close Combat, which does about half. He then almost takes me out with the Body Press, but Pawmot's a beast. I then make a questionable play and use Revival Blessing to try to bring back Earthworm. He goes through the cover and goes back to full health. And then I just go back to punching him in the face with Close Combat. He uses Curse to get his defense up. I punch him in the face again, do some nice damage, get defense lower. He goes for a recover, gets it all back. He then finally decides to take me out with Salt Cure. I then switch back out to Quackwivel, and this is where the fun starts. I Terra Water, go for the Aqua Step, take out Garganicle, get the Speed Boost, then the Moxie Boost, +1. Take some Life Orb damage, but it's too late now. He sets up the Sun, but it's too late again. Aqua Step, takes him out, get another boost, and now we're going off. He switches into his Walking Wake, gets a speed boost, but doesn't matter. Close combat, one shot. Unfortunately, my opponent forfeits, stopping my sweep, but still, good game. At this time, I would ask you guys to please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. And without further ado, let's get into game 2. He starts out with Cinderace, I start off with Lycanroc. He goes for High Jump Kick, gets me down to the Focus Sash. Stealth Rock, Court Change, gets back to my side. Endeavor, he goes down to 1 HP. He then saves his Cinderace by switching to Scissor, and then takes me out with the Bullet Punch. I then switch out to my Goodra, take some Stealth Rock damage, and then he just takes a Fire Blast. He then sends out his Dragonite and instantly goes for the Terra Normal and the Extreme Speed for that big damage. I go for the Draco Meter to do it just a little bit, and then he is then able to clean me up with the Extreme Speed. I then send out Quackwivel, and I go for the Close Combat, but he easily predicts that and switches to the Hatterene. Good play by him. I then switch out to Earthworm to predict the oncoming Psychic or Fairy move, but he just goes for a Calm Mind, trying to boost right in front of my face. I then go for the Iron Head, get a nice chunk of damage, and a Lucky Flinch. I then go for another Iron Head, get another nice chunk of damage. He then goes for the Mystic Fire, almost one-shots me, but Earthworm hangs on just enough. I eat my leftovers, then he switches out to his King Gambit. At this point, I just sack off my Earthworm to a Kotal Cleave to Bishop 2.0, and then switch out to Pawmot. I then make a nice play on the switch and go for the Revival Blessing to bring back my Goodra. Then I punch him in the face with Close Combat, taking out the Dragonite. Unfortunately, my opponent does not like to play because then he forfeits. That then brings us to game 3, where my opponent starts off with Walking Wake and I start off with my Lycanroc. He goes for the Hydro Steam right away, knocking me down to my Focus Sash. I set up my Stealth Rocks. He goes for another Hydro Steam, unfortunately takes out Lycanroc. I then send in my Goodra, and then he switches out to his Scream Tail. My Draco Meteor does nothing to the Fairy type, he gets his leftovers. He then goes into Encore, and then I'm stuck Draco Meteor doing nothing. Unfortunately, that forces me to switch, but I go out to my Earthworm. He goes for the Wish. He then switches out into his Great Tusk to take some Stealth Rock damage. I go for some Spikes. He gets to Wish, not really doing much. Then he goes for the Rapid Spin, getting rid of all of my hazards that I had just set up. I go for the Shed Tail, and I use that to switch back into my Quackwivel. He goes for another rapid spin, even though there's no spikes up. I go for the Aqua Step, then a nice chunk of damage, get the speed boost, take some life orb, go for another Aqua Step, get another boost, and this time I got the Moxie boost. He then switches down to his Walking Wake. I go for the Ice Spinner, do a blah half. He goes for the Hydro Steam, breaks my sub. He then makes a nice play in Terra's Water to resist the Ice Spinner. I take some more Life Orb damage. He goes for the Hydro Steam. I take a little bit more damage. He then switches down to his Torkoal. I decided to go for Close Combat, do a nice 90%. He then switches back into his Scream Tail. I go for the Aqua Step, which does basically nothing. Now with my last breath, I go for a Brave Bird, do about a nice chunk of damage, but my Quaquaval goes down. He uses that to go for the Swish. I then switch out to my Goodra. He goes for another Wish. I go for the Sludge Bomb, big damage, but he gets it all back with his Wish. This thing then goes for another Wish, a little wishful Scream Tail here. I go for a Sludge Bomb, gets some damage. He gets his leftovers, decides to go into his Roaring Moon. I go for another Sludge Bomb, get a chunk of damage. He gets another Wish. I decide to switch out into my Earthworm, predicting the Dragon Claw. He then uses that to switch back into his Scream Tail to resist the fighting move. He then goes for another Wish, and I decide to hit him in the head with some Iron. He gets his leftovers, I get mine. He then uses the opportunity to switch out into his Walking Wake. I go for the Iron Hood, 2% he sticks with, gets a Wish, now I'm pissed. He then goes for the Hydro Steam and takes out my Earthworm. I then switch out to my Pawmot. He goes for a Hydro Steam, hang out with the Focus Sash, and now I retaliate with a Wild Charge, taking out the Walking Wake with my little dog bear thing here. He then switches out to his Torkoal, and I send out my Dunsparce. I go for the Coil, trying to get a little greedy here. He goes for the Stealth Rocks. I go for another Coil. He goes for the Yawn, because now we're getting tired of all this. I then go for the Hyper Drill, take out the Torkoal, and then I decide to take a nap. He then switches down to his Roaring Moon to take advantage of me sleeping, goes for the Crunch, take about a quarter health. I'm still sleeping. He then decides to bite me again, and that one wakes me up. Go for the Ice Spinner, one-shot Roaring Moon. He then goes down to his Armor Roach, goes for the Aura Sphere, takes out my Dunsparce. I'm then down to my last mon, my Goodra. He switches out, I'm assuming it's choiced. I use the opportunity to go for the Sludge Bomb, take out Scream Tail, and then now it's down to the 1v1. I go for the Terra Dragon, he goes for the Psyshock, I live it, go for the Dracometer, hit, and one-shot Armor Rouge. And that's it, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think that NEMONA'S team was any good? Do you like this type of content? If so, give me a like and a comment, and maybe we'll get a part 2 coming your way. Until then, peace.